Good morning, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Reddit, um, any place out there in social media that'll happen to see this. YouTube, I guess, as well, which will be on YouTube here shortly. Um, hey, listen, welcome to Follow Up Friday. Carlos should be joining us here shortly. So I figured I'd go ahead and get started and talk just a little bit about, today about the grind. In fact, let me put the grind is real when it comes to follow-up. I'll put that in the chat, the comments, and then I'll put it on the screen. The topic today, the grind is real when it comes to follow-up. There's a young lady that I be following on Twitter. She's actually back in Maryland. She's a realtor. And every day she'll come in and she'll post her activity of what she's doing, how many calls she's made. She's getting ready to go back through an old list. She's going back through some old people. Her name is I Am Relicia. Let me see if I can put that a little bit bigger. I Am Relicia. She's a realtor in Maryland area and DC area for Sampson Properties, Waldorf, Maryland. I Am Relicia. So anyway, she posts her progress of what she's doing. And, I just love it, right? Because it just demonstrates, discipline and the importance of following up and the importance of the grind. And she talks a lot about her, cold calling, being a realtor, as in any business. There's some points in time where we got to sit down and we got to call. We just have to call. And here goes one of her sessions where she talked about, I made 156 calls, spoke to 29 people, got 4 emails, sending 4 thank you cards. 1 seller will be selling and buying in 3 months. I will be following up today's session. Everyone spoke nice and pleasant, blah, blah, blah. So she kind of documents her journey in terms of, grinding it. She documents her journey in grinding it. And, and this is the young lady that I posted. I sent out a post about her saying, never again will I not follow up. I missed out on $30,000. So I follow her because I really love the fact that she's real with it and she documents, the importance of the grind. This post here, after prospecting earlier, started following up more on my seller leads, and boom, I booked an appointment who I called at the perfect time. So that's the importance of just calling, of being consistent. It's always when we get that transaction or that agreement, it's always the perfect time. And it's the perfect time because we made the call, right? That perfect time is never really achieved unless we actually make the call, so the grind is real, it really is real. And it's, and understand that it has unlimited fruits that it yields when we are on the grind, when we are prospecting, we're consistent. She referenced that miss that she had by not following up before. She said, this will be a listing and a buying. I had to redeem myself from dropping the ball the other day and missing out on $30,000. Well, this is the young lady that I posted about and talked about when she said, never again will I not follow up because I missed out on $30,000. And so it's important to understand, that follow-up is going to bring us significant benefits. Consistency is going to bring us consistent benefits, and if we're in a profession, no matter what our profession is, whether it's real estate or, mortgages or insurance, or it doesn't matter, we're going to have to grind it. There's some times when we're going to have to just focus in and grind it and really put on the grind and get some things done. And that's consistency too. It's like, I can't do it this week and then don't do it next week, then expect to have some results and expect to have some success. It doesn't work that way. I've got to be willing to be consistent and do the things that I'm supposed to do every day. And that's called grind, and grind equals success. I don't know anyone out there who doesn't grind it and put in some consistent hard work and doesn't see some level of success. I don't know anyone. The only people that probably do that are those that start it and then stop and don't be consistent with it. But if you consistently sit down and decide, hey, I'm going to prospect, and 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 I'm going to do this consistently, 1 hour a day, every day, for 5 days or 7 days or 3 days a week, it doesn't matter. You're going to yield some significant fruit from those activities. So, this we're gonna get this young lady on this podcast. I promise you. We interact a lot on Twitter. So, she sent out a post and said something about she found a good lender, and I responded to her tweet and said, don't get comfortable with that lender, because I'll be licensed pretty soon in Maryland, so and Virginia. So don't get licensed. I mean, don't get comfortable, because I'll be calling on her, because she shows she's going to be a very successful realtor. And in my business, I like doing business with successful realtors. So, Carlos is on with us now. Hold on, Carlos. Sorry. Carlos.
How are you?
I'm good, man. How are you doing?
Good.
Good morning. I didn't even see you popped in there. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Oh, that's fine. I enjoy hearing it. I
had you backstage. Sorry about that, Carlos. Carlos, I was talking about the young lady we interact with on Twitter, about her documenting her journey of grinding it, man. And it's so refreshing. I responded back to her yesterday and I said, I really appreciate you, sharing this journey, because it motivates me. Every time I see one of her tweets, it motivates me. It's like, man, I gotta start dialing, because she's getting some results out of what she's doing. And I love the fact that she's so public with it and shares it. It's accountability, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. I love seeing other people, I'm not a good job. I don't do a good job at hanging my laundry out there and letting people know what I'm doing or how I'm doing it. I wish I should. It's just documenting it, It's just a documentary, I love it. I love seeing it because it motivates other people.
It does. Yeah, it does. And that's what I told her. I was like, there's some days where I'm like, man, you're just really going through it. I mean, we all have those days. And then sometimes I'll pop on a Twitter and I'll see one of her post about, day 11 of cold calling so far this month. And it's like, you know what? It's a journey. And we got to be consistent on that journey.
I should do that. I should start doing it. I should start. I mean, if I could figure out a way to not like bombard everybody on, my personal social media or something, but just maybe I could do it on my business page or make another something that somebody wants to follow. And maybe I should start documenting, hey, it's time, 10 o'clock, it's time to start dialing, how many calls did you do? It's a motivator, when I hear people out there, it doesn't matter how many years I've been doing this, it pumps me up too.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it does. Well, it's that accountability. I mean, I think part of the, part of the power of success is being held accountable or holding ourselves accountable. And, from a discipline standpoint, some of us are really disciplined and able to hold ourselves accountable. And then others need some help, whether it's, just publicly displaying what we're going to do and then being held accountable to it, or documenting our accountability, or if it's having a coach,
right.
Like Tracy, right? Tracy for real consulting or whatever, right? Having a coach that's there to help us keep us on track. And the most successful people have coaches, right? So it's not just I mean, everybody has coaches. I mean, Jordan had a coach, everybody has coaches, right? If they're smart.
Everybody does. People don't realize is that those very wealthy, successful people out there right now that are making, and they're still plugging away and working, even if they're 65 years old, they have coaches. There's one specific guy that I follow in the mortgage industry, like what's his name? That's another example. Core training.
Oh yeah, my guy. Yeah, my guy.
Yeah, Core Training. He has a coach.
Yeah.
And he's a training company.
Yeah.
You
follow the Core? I love the Core.
Yeah, I do. That's another one. Yeah.
I
follow all of them still. I mean, it's anybody that is in sales, I try to learn as much as I possibly can with my follow-up systems, how to be better. I've been doing it since I was 18 years old, and I've been following people, and I've been watching, and I've been learning, and I've been, and then I just implement it. It might not work, but you got to do it your own way, or it might not work for your business. It might be different. You might need to set it up differently, but you could learn from other people and take it and take advantage.
Yeah, here's my guy right here from the mortgage coach, Rick.
Yeah, Ruby. Rick Ruby.
Yeah, Rick Ruby is.
Yeah, right here. He is a business coach.
Yeah. He's a very successful mortgage guy. You're right, and he has a coach. He has a coach as well.
Listen to that real quick.
Belly to belly, getting people to like prospecting. My favorite topic. Prospecting. So number one thing we teach at the course, it means getting on the phone, getting belly to belly, getting people to like you, connecting with them. So let's talk about what prospecting boils down to. My 4 steps to prospecting. Number 1, you got to have lots of initial contact. You got to be talking to lots of people. Top 25, database, 30 realtors every Monday. You got to be out there seeing people, builders, business people. You got to be in front of a lot of people. Step number 2, you got to build rapport. You got to connect on a cellular level. My favorite way to connect is to talk about forward. I talk about people's families. I talk about their occupation. I talk about their recreation. And I talk about their dreams. It ain't about me when I'm prospecting. It's about the client that's in front of me, that they feel heard and that they feel important. That's a very important tactic. You do that. Too many of you are out there telling people how great you are. You don't need to tell people how great you are. You need to find out how great your clients are, and you need to find some connections with them. So I build rapport. I'm always looking for somewhere to connect. Do they work out? Do they love Jesus? Do they work hard? Are they dedicated to their family? Do they play basketball? Do they play poker? Do they smoke cigars? Do they golf? I'm looking for some common ground that I can connect with my clients. Because when you connect, they're going to listen. Remember, people don't care how much you know. They know how much you care. You got to connect with your clients. You got to get to know them. You got to be real with them. Then you have the opportunity, which is the key in sales, to close. And then you tell people, hey, I want to be your coach. Hey, I want to be your loan rep. Hey, I want to be your realtor. That's the clearest, simplest way to close. Let's do this transaction right now. That's how you close. And the last part of sales about prospecting, you got to follow up. Follow up means thank you.
Follow up, baby.
It's big gifts. One of the best gifts you can give somebody that your potential of doing business with is to send them a lottery ticket and you say, hey, this is the beginning of us making millions together. People love that little tip. Love that little gift. So we do gifts. We do lots of follow up. We stay in touch with people. So when I look at prospecting for realtors,
there it is. There it is. He finished it off with follow up. You would think we paid Rick Ruby. We think we would paid Rick Ruby to punt follow up on there for us.
And that's the most amazing thing. And right there, we talked about it last week or the week before. We talked about following up with people, and when we do this every week, it's not following up with the people that you're prospecting. You also have to follow up with the people that you have, and that's exactly what he said. You close a deal, you still got to follow up. It doesn't matter if it's 1 year, 6 months, 10 years down the road. You got to follow up with your people.
That's right. Absolutely. I was looking at someone's post on Facebook yesterday, and she said, it feels so good to check in on my past customers to see how the house is doing that we purchased. It just feels good to check in on them and hear their excitement still in the voice. And what I was thinking is, wow, that's excellent follow-up, because, some people think the transaction's over, the relationship is over, but it's just starting, especially in any business where you have services and referrals and multiple purchases. I mean, think about an insurance agent who doesn't follow up on the person who gets automotive insurance coming out of whatever, right? Like, you're going to need homeowners insurance. You're going to need renters insurance. You're going to need, think about that. So building a relationship, following up, it's going to continue to fill my pipeline in essence, right?
Yep. And I followed up with the client. Well, I follow up. I talked to one of my clients just recently. He bought a house with me last year. It's almost been a year now. And he bought a house with me, and I follow up. I talk to them all the time, and I followed up with them few weeks ago. It was probably 3-4 weeks ago. I talk to them every week, but this particular incident, it was like 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I called him up. I said, how's the house doing? And he said, man, the lawn guy ran into my garage door. It's a brand new house too, so it's not even a year old. And he goes, the lawn guy ran his lawnmower, the big machine lawnmower, into my garage door. And I'm like, oh. He goes, I need somebody to fix that. And I'm like, well, is he paying for it? And he's like, yeah, he'll pay for it, but we just need to find somebody to fix it. So, just being a reference to somebody, I mean, that's, lawn guys, anything, any reason in the future to follow up with these people, it's well worth it.
Well, think about that. We've talked about this a number of times on some of our podcasts as well. So especially in your business as a realtor or whatever, being that referral partner, now you refer that business out to someone who does garage doors or whatever, you get to meet them, you introduce yourself to them. Who do you think they're going to call when they're ready to sell their house, or they know someone that's looking to sell their house? They're probably going to call the guy who just sent them some business, particularly if we take the time to let them know who we are and what we do. They're probably going to call you, right? So it has a reciprocal effect. That follow-up now leads to an exponential pipeline build that we never even anticipated or thought about.
Right. And those agents out there, those real estate agents, if you guys feel that, you meet so many people, and you better figure out what they do for employment, because if they're in business and you can use their services, I would definitely support them, especially when they supported you.
Absolutely.
The other day last weekend, I was at my store, just stopped by my store, and somebody came into my store and wanted to buy. So this is one of these things. He came into our store a long time ago, and he wanted to make one copy, right? Well, one copy is like a quarter, and he had like a credit card. I'm like, the thing cost us more money to run the card than it does just to, than that one quarter. Mm-hmm. So I said, as my employee said, Stephanie said, just don't worry about it. It's one of those things that if we take care of our people. So he's like, man, I appreciate that. He goes, I promise you, I'll be back for more. Sure enough, he walks into our store last weekend, and he brought in 8 shirts. He wants yard signs. He wants all kinds of stuff. Yeah. He goes, I told you I'd come back and with flair, and it was the only time he's ever stepped into our store.
Wow.
So then he was making shirts. I said, what do you do? And he says, I do lawn service. And I said, really? I said, why don't you stop? I'm heading to my house right now. Why don't you stop by my house? I said, I need some services.
Wow.
And you got to do that. You have to, you have to give where it's given. They give you support, you got to give them support.
Absolutely. Yeah. Again, it's that exponential effect that we don't even anticipate. It's how things drop out of nowhere. I mean, sometimes business will seem to come out of nowhere. Well, why? Right? Sometimes it's a matter of things that we did trying to help other people. And by following up and checking in on people, past customers, stuff like that. I mean, that's how we set ourselves up for a pipeline that just drops in out of nowhere.
Not only that, but when you need it the most, it comes around.
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you, a year ago, I'm on my Facebook page, all my memories, these last 3 days, today is day 3, but today's day 3 of the 3rd day that the country shut down last year.
It sure is.
Yeah, today's day 3. Because I did videos, and so all my videos are coming up on my memories. And so today is day 3 of a year ago. So, but just like that, it's like all these people that have been supporting me and people that I've been referring and sending out, all these clients that we talk to all the time, build up the relationship, even stopping in our store. A year ago, I was so blessed. Me as a business professional that has been building up, and I never thought I would have to worry about my business. And a year ago, the country shut down, and it was a night and day difference. If you see on my videos, I might post some memories, but there was nobody in the parking lot. There was nobody out. The country shut down, and I was like, wow, you know. But one day after this week, the following week, all of a sudden, all kinds of business started coming in. Why? Because all those people that knew that we were still in business and struggling now, they were referring all the people that they possibly could. There was people we have no clue where they came from, who referred I mean, it was just unbelievable amount of printing that came in starting the following week. And it was just unbelievable. We were so blessed. People would walk in and say, we so appreciate you being open. You know, our neighbors told us to come see you. You know, and it's just the neighborhood people that would come into our store. And like I said, when you want those referrals coming back to you, it will come when you least expect it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or when you need it.
Well, and what I also heard in that, Carlos, is that you guys also grinded it out. I mean, you diversified your product offering, you increased your marketing activity, you did a lot of things. You didn't just sit back and hope and pray that business would walk in the door. You know, you really did a number of things to make it happen. And you know, so you know, I heard grinding in there. I experienced the grind in talking with you every week of you know, the different things that you're doing in order to, I mean, you hunkered down and re-diversified some of your time and effort into the business. So, you know, you have multiple businesses, but that was one where you were like, I need to spend more time in here. You know, we got to take this to a different level. You know, yep. So you increased your grind, if you will. That's kind of what our theme of the day is. The grind is real. You grinded it up a notch.
Yeah, and that's the big part is no matter how successful you feel or where you're at in your business, it could just snap at you in a moment too. Mm-hmm. You know, mm-hmm. And I had to go back. I mean, it was important to me because I wasn't going to allow the economy or the shutdown to shut me down.
Right.
So I had to adjust what I was doing and figure out how to get more business coming in the door. So, you know, I started making videos. I started getting out there. I started seeing, I had to go back to the basics. Even with a business that has been going for 20 years, I had to go back to the basics to make sure that my business is still going to move forward.
That's right. Absolutely. Well, I mean, that's kind of what we talk about every day is that this is not a rocket science thing that we're discussing. You know, it's basics, it's simple stuff, it's consistency, you know, and sometimes it could be a grind. But the time we put into it, it's going to yield fruit. It's going to yield fruit, you know. I mean, my guy Frankie Francisco says so. You know, you reap what you sow, and he's right? You reap what you sow. ¿Qué pasó, Francisco? My guy, the Yankees, Francisco. You know what Francisco is, right? That's Tafita's son. Francisco.
Oh yeah, Francisco.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, but he's right. So, right? We keep putting in, whether it's in the people and the processes and the efforts, and it's gonna reap, right? We're gonna reap. We're certainly gonna reap. That's the grind is real. It's absolutely a real deal. So, I wanted to talk about that because, you know, there's some days when, you know, we just don't have the desire, but, you know, certain things might remind us. And that young lady, you know, on Twitter, she reminds me all the time. It's like, you know what, I got it. You know, if I'm feeling a little bit off, I need to get back on my game, because if he can do it, I can do it. You know what I mean?
Right.
I can do it, you know? And you know what, it's a tough market, you know, from a real estate perspective, it's a tough market. And the thing that I really like about her is she said, well, you know what, I need to step up my game and calling on sellers. If it's a tough market, I need to step up my game, be on the other side of that equation and start calling on sellers. And so, you know, she just decided to take her game to another level, switch the sides. You know what? Hey, I'm not going to just go out here and chase for buyers. This is a tough market. So why don't I get on the sell side? I love that. So she just started cold calling and calling, you know, for sale by owners and stuff like that. And hey, you know what? She's doing great and she's documenting it, and it's great. I love it. Absolutely love it. So,
yeah, you got to keep that grind, and anybody that can help you, you know, get out there. You know, if you're feeling it, you're not feeling it, or you're feeling down, or you're feeling like you're going nowhere, or, you feel like you're stuck or like nothing's happening, reach out to somebody or watch somebody, watch some videos. If you want people to watch, let me know, message us. And you can, we'll give you some people to watch, like this guy here's a perfect example.
Yeah. Rick Ruby, man. I tell you, when I got into the mortgage business, I didn't know anything about mortgage. I didn't know anything about anything. And so I stumbled upon his video, and because he's a mortgage coach, he's a real estate coach actually, and mortgage coach, right? And the one thing he taught me was, you gotta prospect, and you gotta follow up and follow up and follow up. And so, but yeah, you're right. Rick Ruby's a great source. I mean, just go to YouTube and find Rick Ruby, and you'll see all kind of videos out there. I mean, heck, I paid monthly for like 2 years to the mortgage coach, right? Or the core for a mortgage coach, just to make sure I understood what I was doing, right? And I had a coach and had a discipline every week where I had to get on a call and share my greatness tracker, with my coach, right? To make sure that they saw that I was making my calls and doing my follow-ups and stuff like that. And I embraced that. And that's a discipline that I have still today as a result of that 2-year investment. That wasn't an outflow and that's unnecessary and expense. That was an investment. That was an investment in my long-term success, and it was well worth it.
And it built it up. It's well worth the pennies. And this guy, and people don't understand, is that no matter who you watch, this is a mortgage and real estate. Even if you're not in mortgage and real estate, no matter what business you're in, and even if you don't feel like you don't want to pay the money to use this guy's services, he does coaching for other people too. But let's say, you're not in the mortgage, you're not in the real estate. You don't want to pay. Watch. There's plenty of videos out there that he has that can teach you some things, that can help you get motivated, to get you a little bit organized, or to help build the things, or to remind you that this is what you need to do. This video alone will teach you a lot. Mm-hmm. You can watch this video once a week just to keep your mindset straight, to keep you flowing in the right direction. There's a ton of videos out there that will keep you going, no matter if you're in the real estate business or if you're in the mortgage business. If you're not, you can still watch this stuff.
That's right.
And learn.
That's
in
right.
Sales.
Absolutely. You're right. Yeah, no, it's good stuff, man. I tell you what, I still watch this. In fact, I sent this to someone yesterday and I was like, you know what? I need to watch this again because I may have forgotten some things. I may not be doing some things, or as you just said, I may just need a little injection of energy, and I watched that and I was like, all right, yeah, I'm ready to hit somebody. It's like a football player. I'm ready to hit somebody. After watching this guy's video, you're ready to go out and hit somebody. It's like, let me hit this phone and dial these guys,
That's right. Every day, no matter what you're doing, when I wake up in the mornings, it doesn't matter how many years I've been in the sales, no matter how much I already know, no matter where I'm at in my life, I am very good at sales. But no matter what I'm doing every morning, if I'm walking on the treadmill, if I'm out walking, if I'm driving to work, if I'm driving to get the kids, I'm listening to something new. I'm listening, not necessarily new. I'm listening to something. If it's this guy, if it's, there's a ton of people out there that you can watch sales. You type in sales motivation in Google and you'll find something to watch.
Carlos,
and it doesn't, and don't be afraid that it has to do with real estate. It doesn't matter. It gets your mindset. It's sales.
Right. When I started in the business, my sales manager, years ago at Sprint, Annette Leiter, she had us go through and she taught us a couple of people. One of the guys was Brian Tracy. And Brian Tracy is a sales motivation extraordinaire. And one of the things he said on one of his videos, I think it's this one right here. I watched this video hundreds of times and shown it to people hundreds of times. But one of the things that he said was, turn your car into a university on wheels. Always be listening to something that's enriching or motivating or teaching you something. Turn your car into a university on wheels. He said you can listen to the equivalent of 52 books a year minimum if you just throw a CD. Back then, it was the tape generation, back when this guy was popping off here. You see this video's a little old, but he said, you got tapes, cassette tapes, which most of our guys won't know what cassette tapes are nowadays. But he said to pop a cassette tape in and turn your car into a university on wheels. Always be learning. Always be learning. Always be learning. And that's something that, right now you can go in my car. There's a Spanish, there's an Italian, there's Brian Tracy, there's Tom Hopkins. Those guys are all in my car right now, because I'll pop it in there. I'll listen. I may speak a little Italiano, le capisci l'italiano. Right? I still am not fluent, but I still have that whole set of CDs in there.
Yeah. And you got to. I mean, I love my music. I love jamming out in my car. It's my time to get my mind straight. Music helps me keep my mind straight. But there's times in the mornings, when in the mornings when you're supposed to be quiet at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, I always turn up my music. So I know at 6 o'clock in the morning, I can't be blaring my music when people are trying to sleep. So I I'll throw in some motivational stuff or some sales stuff. Believe it or not, people might make fun of me, but Zig Ziglar, he's not with us anymore, but that's where I learned, that was the very first guy that I ever watched when I was 18 years old, and I still refer back to it, just for refreshing, They teach you how to follow up with people. They teach you how to sales. They teach you closing. They teach you how to talk. They teach you, they teach you all kinds of fun stuff. And not only that, but it gets you motivated.
Yeah.
It keeps you moving, but the follow-up systems, the new people these days, the newer people these days, they'll teach you the follow-up systems. Like Rick Ruby teaches you how to follow up with everybody. He teaches you how to be disciplined, and he doesn't sound he's not. Some people might get offended by him, but he's not a very nice, I'm not saying that he's not a nice guy. I'm sure he is, but he doesn't sound nice.
He is straightforward, no BS, and tells it like it is, and I love that. I love that.
If you were in any kind of sports or anything, you'll know that like his title is head coach.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he's the head coach, and no coach is nice to you. You know what I mean? No coach is going to baby you through your process.
Yeah.
They're going to tell you like it is. They're not your best friend. They're your coach. They're the people that are going to teach you how to do what you need to do.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So this guy gets straight to the point, and I love it. I love listening to it. I don't care how stern it is.
No, and you know what? I went to we went to Dallas and went to one of his conventions, and walked away with a wealth of information, knowledge, and met some really good people. And he was the same way there. It was no BS, no nonsense. Hey, we're here. He's like, I'm here to help you make money. Yep. And I'm not going to sugarcoat that and what you need to do, and get on the grind, do what you got to do.
You don't need to listen to it, but that top video on the right, where you're the next video on your screen, that's a good one too.
That is a good one. Yeah,
it's stern, but it's good. I love it.
Yeah, that's a really good one. Yeah, that's the first one I ran into.
I've watched this thing probably 40, 50 times, maybe.
Yeah, me too. That's the first one I ran into was that video. Yeah. And he said when he's asking the questioner about how many deals they do and how they're doing them, and he's like, "You're doing them wrong." It was so funny, but it was so true. It's like, hey, you're doing it wrong, But he's good, and there's great coaches out there in the insurance industry and whatever space you're in. There's coaches out there. Get one, But most importantly, understand that they're all going to tell you the same thing. They're all going to say the same thing. Nothing's going to be easy. the grind is real. You know what I mean? And you got to follow up. You got to follow up, and you got to follow up and keep following up. And that's what I love about that young lady on Twitter. She recognized that she made a mistake by not following up, and then she said, "Screw it! I'm not going to let that happen again. Not going to let it happen again." So I love that about her. So I follow her, interact with her. We're going to get her on the show. We're going to get her on the show for sure. Rilica,
I wish there was a lot more people out there that would realize her situation.
Mm-hmm.
I do. I know for a fact there's some business that I've missed, but you got to keep plugging away, and you got to make it better, and you got to fix it. Yeah. I always try to tell my kids, there's nothing wrong with making mistakes. You make a mistake, but you got to figure out a way. You have to figure out a way to fix it.
Yep, that's right.
You don't want to do it again. It drives me nuts when my kids do the same thing over and over instead of fixing the problem.
That's right. Absolutely. I agree.
Fixing the problem is following up. And you could do it as best you can, but you just got to do it. You know what I mean? You got to keep doing it. You got to keep doing it more and more and more. I wouldn't expect anybody just to be able to do what I do in every week. But if you start one day a week on a Friday, as soon as you watch our video and you get off our video and, 10 o'clock rolls around and you make some phone calls for an hour and a half. You start there. Maybe the next week you start Fridays and you start doing it on Mondays. And then the following week you start doing it Friday, Monday, and Tuesday. You just gotta gradually do it, but you have to make changes, and you got to do it.
That's right. Yep. And it only takes a few minutes, man. I mean, listen, it only takes a few minutes to make a big difference. And so, if you can't allocate, an hour to it, allocate 15 minutes and just say for the next 15 minutes, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to follow up on, past clients. I'm going to follow up on, current clients. I'm going to follow up on referrals, and, whatever. Just take 15 minutes, just allocate. Like you said, Carlos, just take a few minutes a day, make that the start of it, and then you can build on it. But, we just have to start somewhere. We got to start somewhere.
Yeah, hour and a half. I mean, you have no clue on how hour and a half. If you do an hour and a half of phone calls on a Friday, you leave a voicemail. You make the phone call, you leave the voicemail, you leave a text. You know what I mean? And then you send an email.
That's right.
And you'll see if you could get, and you do it one right after another with no interruptions. Right there, Rick Ruby is the one that says that you have to turn off your. He says you got to turn off your devices.
Yeah.
I can turn off my device and do it because I have the ability to text from my computer. So do you, Stephen.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I can text from my computer, and we learn from our mistakes. That's right. As long as we figure them out and make changes. That's right, Patty. But I can shut off my electronics and do my emails and do my text messages and do everything that I need to do. But an hour and a half of you doing what you're supposed to do, if you can get 60 phone calls in that hour and a half, you'll be surprised on how many return phone calls, return emails, any of you return text messages. You'll be surprised on how many you get back. And you do that every single day, you'll be bombarded with all the return phone calls and return text messages and emails.
That's right. Absolutely. Yeah. You betcha.
Action will happen.
Action will happen. Yeah. I mean, we started this off just by doing a few minutes. Hey, let's go back in our office and let's, follow up on for this next hour. So that's how we started this all off at the Remax Beyond office with Bianca Stala. Bianca now has her own mortgage company as well, right? What is that called?
Infinity Mortgage Services.
Infinity Mortgage Services, Bianca Stala in Olathe, Kansas. We have to get Bianca on. She is, talk about inspiring and motivating and empowering and entrepreneurial. Bianca Stala, the broker for Remax Beyond, is all those and a bag of chips. She's married John and Jesus. I mean, she's that good. That young lady is, wow, talking about motivating. We have to get her on because you're talking about following up. She's followed up and grown her empire from just a loan officer to now, a broker of a real estate agency. Now she's got a mortgage company. She's got a title company in there. She's got commercial. I mean, that lady is unbelievably great. So we have to you got to get Bianca on.
I can tell you this much from me knowing her, from me seeing her, and she probably won't say it. She's so humble, she won't say it. But this lady, she's got a business, she built this business up on her own, and she has a business running right now. Every day she gets, this phone rings here at the office or her phone. And I heard her the other day saying, man, I got to get used to answering these calls. And I said, well, you got to schedule that. You know what I mean? You got to make sure that you can answer those calls, because she gets so many phone calls from referrals and from people and previous clients. And, she built an empire. You know what I mean? Yeah. She built a business because she does not need to. I don't think if Bianca wanted to take a week off of work, she would have all kinds of business. Her phone would ring every day.
Oh, absolutely.
Of new clients, new referrals, somebody that either referred them or somebody that was previous.
Families. You can't believe the year I was there, how many people that she sent me that were family members of people she did deals for 5 or 6 years ago, 7 years ago. It's like, oh yeah, I sold this guy house. Oh yeah, I did his mortgage, 5 or 6 years ago. And, she's the epitome of, hey, what Followup can do, what good service can do, what grinding will do. I mean, we got to get Bianca on. So you got to tackle her one day and just bring her on because, she's so busy. You just got to just bring her in the office one day and just have her jump in there with us one time. So Asa Barnes, great comment. Look at that. I think people know what to do. We just need to do it. That's the elephant in the room. He's absolutely right. Discipline is the consistent vehicle that operates regardless of what motivation does. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Discipline. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Carving out 15 minutes. Again, the elephant is the hour. The elephant is the 7 days or 5 days. The manager that turned me on to this guy, Brian Tracy, told me one day, she actually told this person who was with us in the room. The lady was like, Shelly O'Brien, never forget. Shelly was off. She was off for 2 weeks. And, she had to make plan. She had to make her sales plan because we were in an internship program at Sprint, and you couldn't stay in that program if you didn't make plan. And so Shelly was like, Annette, I don't know what I'm going to do. I've been off. I've been sick for 2 weeks. I don't know what I'm going to do. I really like this program. I don't want to get out of the program. And Annette looked at her and Annette said, well, Shelly, the best way to eat an elephant is piece by piece. That's the best way to eat elephant. We can't eat elephant whole. So all you got to do right now is you got to focus on nibbling a little bit on the toe. Then you can work on the leg. Then you can work your way up. But the best way to eat elephant is piece by piece. So you got to install some discipline, and you got to put together a routine and a plan to make sure that you consistently do what you need to do the next 2 weeks, because you have to make plan or you can't stay. Shelly made plan. She did in 2 weeks what most people did in a month. But she walked out of that office and she was scratching her head going, what is she talking about? I got to eat an elephant piece by piece. She figured it out. It was the discipline every single day. From that moment she walked out of that office, Shelly worked 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. She increased her hours, increased her days, and did in that 2 week period what she hadn't ever done in a 30-day period. She ate that elephant piece by piece, but it was because of the discipline that Asa is talking about, the discipline and the consistency. And she broke it down and she did it. I'll never forget that.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. People don't understand that. People need to understand that elephant. You eat little by little, start little by little. You got to start somewhere. If you keep working at it, nibbling at it, you'll get more and more. It's just how fast you do it and how efficient you do it, But, I still remember to this day that I would, write down on a book every single person that I talked to, any name, phone number, email address, every person that I would talk to. And I would just keep plugging away every day. I would go into the office and I would follow up with the first person and figure out, okay, what do I need to do with this person? I got to find this. I got to do this, I got to do this. And I would move down every single person. And it was a weird follow-up system, but it was what I had at the time, And back then they didn't have CRM systems and they didn't have, the technology that they have now. But you just got to follow up with everyone, and you got to do it little by little. And I think even the people that are in this, that are on this video right now, they agree.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. You're right. You're right. Cool, Carlos. Well, we're at 10 o'clock, man. And, wow, this time flew by. This flew by quickly. So appreciate everyone sharing and joining. Great comments. And, we just got to remember the grind is real. And go check out our guy, Rick Ruby, Zig Ziglar, Brian Tracy. These guys are on YouTube. It's free content. I'll drop these videos in here. So go check them out. Brian Tracy one is really old, but he's still around with some really good content. You need a boost, you need a push, you need a pump. Go to YouTube and grab some of these guys, because these guys have some really good content and really good information as well.
Yeah. All right, Carlos, there's a ton more. There's a ton of people out there. If you guys need some people, let us know. Message us. Text us. You can text us at that 913-703-7000. Text us anything you need from us, anything that we can help you with. Zig Ziglar, look at that. And it's old videos, but I could tell you this much, till this day, in 2020, I listened to Zig Ziglar. So I do it all the time.
Absolutely.
I did it all 2019. I do it all the time. I listen in the mornings when I work out. Every morning for a while there, I would work out in the mornings, and I would have him on every single morning at 5 a.m. And he's not with us anymore, but it's good content.
Absolutely good content. I'll leave everybody with this, because you just said something that you get up every day and you would listen to him at 5 a.m. Again, one of the things I learned from Annette Leiter and Brian Tracy in those early days was that first hour. Make it the hour of power, right? That first hour is so critical. What comes in, right? What comes in is so important to the rest of the day. So, whether it's meditating that first hour of the day, maybe taking 5 or 10 minutes and then going into your routine of listening to something motivating or reading something motivating, that first hour of power is what we used to call it. That hour of power, that first hour is so critical and important to really how the rest of our day goes.
Yep. It's motivating, and it keeps you motivating. That's why, even a short walk in the morning, even if you're not getting up and doing a full-blown workout and it's not you, it's well worth getting up and taking a short walk around the block, and get your blood flowing, get your mindset right. When you get out of bed, don't get on social media and just start looking at the drama and the negativity. Just turn something on, read a book, do it for 15 minutes, get up and read something, or, something motivating, or watch a video, put it in your ear, put an earphone in, and listen to it, while you're making that coffee or getting dressed to go take that walk.
Absolutely.
Patty, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Patty Pazzi, Francisco, Asa, all the people out there who've commented and attended and watched, and those who haven't, we really appreciate it. And as Carlos said, hey, listen, if you need help with anything, 913-703-7000 is a text to chat, or you can call that number. Rings right to Carlos, and Carlos will answer any questions or get you in contact with me. You can reach us on Facebook. We're on Twitter. It shouldn't be hard to find us, for sure. So Instagram, YouTube, it's easy to find us. So we're here to help. That's what we're here for. We're looking to sow, as Francisco says, sow. We're looking to sow. The more we sow to help other people, the more that we feel good about ourselves. And when we feel good about ourselves, we can do good things. And at the end of the day, that's all it's about. That's all it's about.
Follow up, baby. Follow up.
Absolutely. All right, Carlos, it's good to see you, my man. Have a good day. Have a good
See you later.
Yeah. See you guys.